Welcome to our final presentations for our 4th hour Vision Tech class. We're going to begin with Jacob and a presentation on the deep web.
All right, so I'm doing the deep web, deep net, and also partly covering the dark net because it is also there. Warnings! This is supposed to be a joke, but also seriously. While you're searching, if you decide to look for this stuff and just explore it a bit, you can find very illegal and dangerous websites and or media. So please be careful what you see, do, and or attempt. I'm not liable for anything that might scar you. Please. The internet is basically an iceberg. Everything you can turn on a computer for and find, like YouTube, Tumblr, Reddit, all that is the top of the iceberg where you can easily see. Then right underneath the water is the deep web, and then to the very bottom, the third arrow, is the dark net. I know it's not here to help me check out. Like the arrows say, turn the computer on, that's easy. The deep web's just a bit harder to find if you're bored. And then the dark net, either use a proxy, which is most ways to get to the dark net, or the FBI will track you down most likely. The deep web. The deep web is anything you cannot access from a normal search engine. Well, several ways people can access these pages, such as Deep Peep, Intute, Deep Web Institute, and Omnia.fi. You mostly hear how dangerous the deep web could be, but this is not the truth. This is simple stuff. There's a lot of good in it. People will post their web pages that they're making on the deep web to see how people like it and at an experimental stage before they post it to the live web. Also, it allows people from like North Korea or Cuba who are in a very strict regime where they can't properly express themselves to be anonymous and unable to be tracked to say how much they don't like it or maybe find a way out of the country. And then the dark web, which is the scary part. The dark web is the danger most commonly thought of when you talk about the deep web. The deep web is a dangerous part of the internet and most notably a black market. Here you can find all sorts of stuff to buy illegally, from any kind of weapon and firearm to any kind of drug imaginable. Along with, sadly, several types of illegal pornography starting with stuff such as pedophilia. There are also sites where you will meet some serious nightmare fuel. Some of these supposed true encounters was website where people would steal the dogs and cats of people when they weren't looking, and then sell them online for a higher price. And then a story of that is that some friends were drunk one night and decided to explore the dark web. So they found that site and were taunting the maker of the website because he opened up a chat box saying if he could help him with anything. And so the drunk people told them where they lived and told them, come here if you dare. A few days later, they found their cat mostly skinned on their front porch. You can find several sites where you can see murderers and very sick-minded people can have, I guess, fun, if you want to say it. You can find people and animals being tortured or even killed. And if you want to hear something supposedly true, the internet's not always true, and sometimes it's rumors. But if you want to hope their word are right, you can go find YouTube pages like Lazy Masquerade and Corpse Husband, which I frequent a lot, but they do great storytellings. They'll take supposed true stories from like Reddit and that people share, and this do their own vocal or dramatic rereading of it. Guaranteed to be careful, and then here's my work set.
Okay.
Smells great.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's how you get creepy people.
Yeah.
He's looking for stuff. There's a lot of good. There's good stuff and there's bad stuff. There's a lot of things like you can purchase illegal things and hire illegal services.
Oh, also,
Through Bitcoin.
Okay.
Bitcoin works a lot.
you can't buy. There's a lot of Bitcoin purchases on it.
Yeah.
Actually, read some long ago that you can buy like a whole bunch of weapons and other stuff.
Weapons, yes, drugs, contraband.
Also, for the actual
You can
dark
hire
web,
people to do things.
also for the dark web, you can't access it through Google.
No, you cannot access it
Firefox,
through
or anything.
Google. Usually people use what's called a Tor net.
Yes, you have to download the Tor search engine and network.
It's a Tor
to get
search
access.
engine network that lets you use. So,
Are
yeah.
all like websites, onion sites, or all of it?
Well, are you asking how it works? Is that kind of
Like,
what you want?
what are their extensions? 'Cause
What are their extensions? You know, they did like .fi is an extension of like deep web. Don't run on normal domains, if that's what you're asking. Sometimes their domains are not trackable, traceable, and purchased like things that run on the World Wide Web. So they're working on on a network system. They're just not working within anything that lets them be found with the search engines you guys use. Does that make sense? Yeah.
DuckDuckGo, that's pretty deep.
DuckDuckGo, yeah, that'll help you go to the dark
And
web.
then from the bottom part of the iceberg here, if I'm correct on the titles of what I've researched, Onion Chan and IB, I can't tell. Or those are like mostly that's the illegal drug and weapons channel
Mhm.
where Peter Pan's kind of obvious their name. So I won't go there.
Yeah,
So it can be an
it's interesting to
place.
go look at. I've looked at it a few times, but I haven't messed with it.
So thank you.
Yeah,
Did you buy?
very good, thank you. Yeah, I tried to hire somebody to,
I suppose it's
give it a
story.
Sam Brown bag.
I suppose it's story that someone hired a hitman to kill himself.
Okay,
hired to kill
Lawrence.
himself and then they killed him.
Lorenzo.
Leonard Oswald was hired on that.
I heard that's like headquarters for Walt Disney.
Woo! I'm ready. Did you say dark web is the headquarters?
For Walt Disney.
That makes sense.
People know what that was in.
I mean, they got people like Miley Cyrus who's part of the program. Yeah, that
I saw Miley Cyrus on, she was on Jimmy Fallon last night.
Why?
Oh, yeah.
What would you put that?
She had a t-shirt with a kitten on it. She looked sort of normal.
What else?
Well, I think she's
What else is
starting to
there?
feel a
What-
little more normal.
I was like,
No,
she looks good. She
No,
looked
she's
good.
not.
I like her hair. I always like her hair.
Sanity and then going even farther.
Okay, let's listen to the Lawrence. You may, yes.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Okay. I thought you were expecting applause.
There you go.
Yes, thank you. My topic here is hacking. Most you know what that is, but I'm gonna kind of elaborate on it a little bit, give some visual aid to what it really consists of. I'm gonna start it now.
This is good.
What is it? What is hacking? The internet that I searched it defines it as a computer using to gain unauthorized data to a system. So that's pretty much it. So hacking could be anything from getting on a website like SparkNotes that you're not allowed to be on at school, or actually shutting down a network of the governments from wherever, and it also maybe like completely ruining Bitcoin in general. That's pretty real. But this kind of what it is, it's actually easier than you would think to hack into something, but it's a lot harder to actually do something in the network. Obviously, just something that you want to do anyway. So I'm going to continue and discuss what hats are. White hats. Of hackers here to test security and to help, pretty much. That's the only purpose for doing that. They're not trying to white flag. They want to there. what's Destiny to do for you? You need some food. Everybody in the party needs the food. So you could do something with the food. So that's where you find your vulnerability, and then you're going to exploit it. What are you going to do? What do you
Laxative
do?
punch.
Sure, we'll
Let's
back
hope not.
laxatives, why not? We'll do the Jake way. So now you exploit the problem here by finding laxatives and putting the punch. That's the basic idea. After that, and the party just goes crazy and everybody gets arrested or something like that. But that's kind of, this is a analogy or metaphor, as you will, for hacking into a network. You find a way into the network through the back or some way that's not the original way that you go into a network. Because you're not going to just log in. And then you look around, try to find something that you want to mess with, which is usually used in, you have like a program that looks around, finds little messes up in code, little dots that weren't supposed to be there or something like that. And then finding those vulnerabilities, making sure you can actually do something with them and exploiting them. That's kind of the dumbed down version. Usually you have to do a lot more coding and writing stuff, but this is the basic idea. And that's about it. So what did we learn here? Don't clap yet. I'm not done yet.
Spike the punch.
Yeah, what we learned is to spike the punch, because that is the real way to do this. I would like to go into more detail with hacking and everything, but that would involve a lot more information. And there's like the first step and there's like the second step. So jumping up there would be a lot more. This is kind of just how you would basically get the idea of what hacking is. Now I'm done.
All right. Thanks very much. Hacking is not leaving your Facebook account open so somebody else can access it. It's not that.
Hacked by your mother, not you.
I've had
At least your mom loves you.
At least your mom loves you.
Come on. Yes, no. And then this Delaney's after Liz. You're on deck. And Brett's in the hole. It's a baseball thing.
Not cool.
Brett's in trouble, so he's in the hole.
Actually, Nick took it.
I'm trying to, I've had my network hacked by, I've had this school hacked by Nick Dieterding, Jake Coney. But they asked permission before they did it. They were working in military, within the NSA portion of the military when they did it, so.
Okay,
Here we
so
go.
I did net neutrality, and I'm going to be explaining kind of what it is and why it's important.
Net neutrality is actually hugely important. Essentially, it means that all data has to be treated equally, no matter who creates it. It's why the internet is a weirdly level playing field.
So net neutrality, as he kind of explained, means that all internet sites on the World Wide Web are treated equally, and it's not based on size or kind of the company. So if Google creates a site and there is a student blog also created, they are allowed to be accessed equally with the same amount of connection and the same speed of connection, and you don't have to pay more to go on one than the other. So they can't discriminate and make you pay more to do one thing or make some company pay to be like loaded faster than say another thing. So you'll go to their site more often, and then your internet service provider can be paid more money. So ISP can't charge, like internet service providers can't charge for how fast the connection is, and they also can't block any sites that they wouldn't want you to go to.
When you download from the internet, it arrives in packets of data. Think of the packets as literal packages. Let's say you want to watch a Netflix movie, which is 10 packages big. You order, Netflix ships, but first it has to go through a sorting facility. In this analogy, that's an internet service provider like Verizon or Comcast. Now, what net neutrality means is that all packages must be delivered at the same rate. If the law changes, a company like Netflix could pay extra to get on the first truck. If a company doesn't pay, they might be shut out of that first truck. They'll get delivered eventually. But if that climactic movie scene arrives late, you know what that means.
So the internet protects free speech. That to be true anymore, they want people to have to pay them to be able to be shown, to be able to be loaded. They basically want to take away people's rights to see what they want when they want with no extra charges. For example, it would be kind of like phone carriers telling you when you were allowed to call people and what you were allowed to say to them, like whenever you're trying to talk to someone, which seemed ridiculous. So that's why people are wanting to protect net neutrality. So the people or companies that want net neutrality to stay a thing there's a lot of them, but these are the main components. There's like over 150 websites and companies that want net neutrality to stay a thing. So that's Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and a bunch of others. And the main ones that are against net neutrality are the internet service providers. So Verizon, T-Mobile, Comcast, and AT&T.
Because more money.
Yep, that's exactly what they want. So next.
I'm gonna call
Why is it
Verizon.
important? So this is a kind of definition, or I guess not, an explanation of why it's so important. Net neutrality prevents a network owner from exploiting its control over that facility to gain leverage over actual information, products, and services that flow through it, and the markets that rely on it. So they can't force people to pay more money, and they can't force people's sites to become unseeable. So we can get all of the information that we would ever need and not have to pay more or have to force other people to pay for their companies to pay more to be able to view their sites. And I think it's just kind of exciting.
Excellent. Do you guys understand that? Does it make sense? So if you're if there is not net neutrality and you're a new company, it would be almost impossible for you to gain a foothold and rise to the equal power of a company that was there before you, perhaps, who did the same type of business. You could be locked out of business. And so it's really, really critical. I don't know if you guys knew this, but with it, I think it's 2015, basically President Obama said, we will continue to support net neutrality. And he fought for it because there was a huge lobbying effort by Verizon, AT&T, Netflix, and other streaming companies who wanted to lock down and prevent other companies from having equal access. So anytime people tell you, especially political people, if they're stupid enough to say they're against net neutrality, you got to write letters. Because for you, that means people can decide what you see and how you pay for it. And we don't want that. The net is supposed to be equal access to all, right? That'd be like people charging you for your air that you breathe, right? Or the quality of air you breathe, right? Huh? It's coming to it? Oh, I don't think so. But, there is that.
Yeah,
Very good, very
They
good.
do that in China. You don't pay taxes. We're gonna just stick you in the heart of Beijing.
Well, in many countries where they do not monitor air quality, they actually have China has some of the worst air pollution on the planet. Like even in Korea, because North Korea does not monitor their air quality. And I know this because Naomi has told me several times about they will get alerts. They'll say today is a amber alert day. That means the air from the wind gust coming from North Korea is pushing their smog, and they all have to wear masks because the air pollution is that bad. And she said that happens quite often.
So a south breeze,
Huh?
like a south breeze. Too.
Yes, if the air is pushing the air quality from North Korea, you have to. They monitor that. So yeah, interesting stuff. Okay, gene therapy. You ready to go, Miss Delaney?
Yeah. I'll explain it more, but first I kind of have a clip. It's not going to make a lot of sense, but then I'll kind of explain it.
Brayton's bone marrow extraction went very well. He's gonna be in pain for a while. Hey, you did great, Brayton. We're almost there. Cool.
Can you explain to us one more time?
Because it still sounds like you're gonna give our son HIV. No, it's gene therapy. Brayden lacks the ADA enzyme. Without it, he has no immunity. So in order to get it into him, I'm going to deliver it on a fast replicating virus.
The HIV virus?
Yes, which will disseminate the enzyme until it grows on its own. You want to inject him with HIV? No, not per se. For the past 2 weeks, I've been working to genetically disable an HIV virus. Okay, the HIV is like.
Okay, that was my clip. So basically, some background. The little boy from the clip, he has SCID, which is severe combined immunodeficiency disorder, which means he has no immune system. So like even a common cold would be life-threatening to him because his body can't fight that off. They had been previously treating him with enzyme injections, but they stopped working. His body just stopped responding to that because he'd been on that since he was a little boy. So he was gonna die if they didn't find anything to help him. He had like I don't know what he got, just like a staph infection or something, and he couldn't fight that off in any way. So they had to come up with something. That clip was from an episode of Grey's Anatomy, and I love Grey's Anatomy. So that's kind of what inspired this, I guess you could say. Dr. Bailey, that doctor, whoa. I don't know what happened.
Just hit space bar.
Dr. Bailey, whoa.
Dr. Bailey had the idea to deactivate the HIV virus and deliver this enzyme to him in an alternate way so his body would not recognize like what was being given to him. And so this worked and his T cell count increased, which your T cell count is what fights off infection. So that's what they checked when they did that. So basically, why is this relevant? Well, what they did was a type of gene therapy, and gene therapy is a type of therapy that uses genes to either treat or prevent diseases. And doctors will insert a healthy copy of defective genes into the patient's DNA. Here's kind of like a picture. I don't know if you can really see it too well, but this is kind of like the simplest way to put it, I guess you could say. There's a cell with a non-functioning gene. And I mean, there's a lot more too, but they just place, they genetically engineer a functioning gene and place it over that. And then the cell functions normally, hopefully. And they're not, I mean, this is kind of a new thing that's coming about, so they don't know exactly the long-term effects and if it always works and all of that stuff. But so far, it's worked well. So gene therapy is working to find treatment for all the following: Parkinson's, Huntington's, severe combined immunodeficiency, which was like that little boy had, sickle cell anemia, inflammatory arthritis, cancer, heart disease, and HIV infection. And I think we all know at least a couple people that have been affected by any of these. So the fact that they're making strides in that is pretty cool, I think. There's 2 types of gene therapy, which I had no idea even existed. And that's kind of like why I wanted to look at this, is because I kind of liked biology and this is totally out of my comfort zone. So why not try it? There's somatic, I think that's how you say it, gene therapy, which places the new gene on the section of DNA that doesn't produce sperm or eggs. So you don't pass that on to your offspring, which that like totally never crossed my mind before. Like if you genetically change your genes or whatever, like that is gonna affect your offspring, or it could. I didn't think of that. Then the other one is the complete opposite. So it does pass your new gene on to your offspring. Like use, or it can help organs, it can help both of those things in your body. And like they did in the clip, they used HIV host to inject that. So it kind of sounds crazy at first, but it was just like it wasn't HIV at all. So So it's not just like just a random antibiotic or something that everybody has. Like, I don't know what's a common drug that they use, and a lot of these are in the trial stages right now. Emily Rhodes' grandma, she has pancreatic cancer, and it was stage 4, and they're doing like a lot of mixtures of stuff. She's on the trial one, but like with a mix of radiation and chemo, and then they did some like gene therapy specifically targeted towards her gene. She's doing really well, and like I know her doctors used her as like an example for a big conference they went to, and so I mean it's working. And like at first they didn't have a lot of hope, so that's cool. And then there's my works cited. And I got a lot of this information from the NIH, which is the National Institution of Health. So
Very good. Anybody got questions? Anybody watched 60 Minutes this last week? On 60 Minutes, they had a really wonderful program about gene therapy to affect glioblastoma cancers, which are brain cancers, like what Mr. Rogers is affected by. And basically, they genetically alter the polio virus because the polio virus has a way of mutating and finding, and it attaches itself to certain types of quickly growing abnormal growths. So when they mutate it, it's no longer polio, but it will go and attach itself to tumors, especially brain tumors like glioblastomas. And then they can target those abnormal cells with the radiation. And they've had multiple cases where it totally eliminated the cancer altogether. So there's amazing things that are happening with that. So if you are a good science person, things to think about, right? A lot of this testing is there's tests. If you're interested, like I know Andrew McClure is working on some I'd love to see how they actually alter the actual cell. Yeah, the virus cell alter that. That's it. That's really interesting.
Okay.
Welcome back. Right.
He's here.
Oh my God, Brett. What did you do to the
Correct from Star Wars.
That's making me wrong.
It's a good thing I have trucks too.
I wouldn't my computer though.
You did bring it.
I said, oh, there it is. It's on the chair. Okay, so this is based upon Proxy. So many of you guys have ever heard the word came before like computer ages and stuff. But a proxy, as defined by Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is a person who is given the power or authority to do something for someone else. So a good example for this is with the voting system. So if somebody goes to Darth Vader and this person wants to vote, but like he doesn't want to go to he doesn't want to go anywhere to vote, so he's like, hey, can you go vote for me? Darth Vader's like, yeah, sure. So he like, goes to the voting booth and like votes and stuff for that person. He didn't vote for Darth Vader, he voted for a little two-headed alien. So yeah, that's the concept of what a proxy is. And this applies to what a proxy is in the field of computers. So a proxy, in essence, acts as a middleman between a computer network and just multiple computer networks. And the question that confused me while I was doing this was, what can a proxy be? Because I was really confused on that. Well, proxies can range from being actual computer servers to web pages that do that same function. So a proxy server, as I mentioned before, stands between a client and a resource, which itself is a server, but it can also fulfill the requests of a client on the client's behalf, or you can filter and modify the requests in a specific way, as defined by ukproxyserver.org. So I got some visual aids coming up here. This is an example of what proxies do. It can provide anonymous activity and acts as a substitute for Alice. So Alice is going, oh, can you ask Bob what the current time is? So the proxy redirects it, kind of filters it out a little bit, says, what's the current time? He doesn't know where that question is coming from. Then Bob replies with the time is 7 p.m., then it goes to the proxy and back to Alex. So here we go. There's types of proxies. There's proxy server, which is shown up quite a few times in this presentation already. Passes and relays requests and responses without too much modification. I put without modification period, but there can be some in there. Also called the tunneling proxy. A forward proxy retrieves resources from the web. For example, caching an online file for easier download in large quantities. Must retain an HTTPS connection. So I'm going to use the board as an example.
Erase the party. Don't erase my party.
Erasing your party.
The party's gone.
Yep.
No more party.
Black hat, gone. Party, gone. Okay, so school systems will do this a lot. So let's say you have a file up here on the web. That's great handwriting. And you got all these people down here with their computers. These are the squares. These are the people who want to download this file. Well, unfortunately, if they do it all at once, it's going to take a really long time to download it to each person. So what a proxy can do is that when everyone goes for it at once, a proxy, this is like a proxy, I can put a circle in there, I don't know why, fill it in. And a proxy can keep a cached version of that file locally. So when people go to get it, it's a much faster process to download that file. So an open proxy, a variation of forward proxy that can be accessed by anybody on the internet, can allow users to be anonymous while browsing the web, which is also known as concealing the IP address. And I mean, most of these proxies, conceal the IP address so that when you browse the web, it doesn't, show your location. However, you got to be careful because the proxy does know your location, but it filters it through so that the internet doesn't know your location or your IP address. The first proxies appear to be a run-of-the-mill server, but forwards requests to more proxies and returns information as it came from the original server. So it's kind of almost misleading, but the example here, it kind of has its own little process that it goes through and it returns it as if it came from the original proxy. So now we get to the uses of proxies, those are the types. With everything, proxies can also be dangerous and in the wrong hands, can be used for ill intent. Some uses include eavesdropping on data flow, such as passwords and usernames. Because when you go through a proxy and enter information and stuff, it can get your passwords, and in the wrong hands, people can get your passwords and screw you up, which is why you want to be careful with certain proxies and websites. Monitoring and filtering, usually used by schools to keep web access school appropriate, but for example, blocking Facebook since that's considered social media. And you can actually use proxies to get around that, but you also have to be really careful with that. Improving performance, for example, caching proxies keep local copies of frequently accessed questions. And those are very often used by large businesses so that their servers don't crash when large quantities of people go online to ask certain questions. If they keep cached, like local cached files of that, then their servers won't crash. It'll just make it very easy for both parties there. Anonymous web browsing, as I mentioned before, requests that go through anonymizer proxies is what they're called, to the desired server become free of any information on the requesting address and IP. And the requests that are sent to the proxy are not anonymous, as I mentioned before, so users must take caution. So in conclusion, proxies are the middleman that filter and redirect requests based upon their function. In other words, I kind of made this analogy, but they are the butlers of the computer world and the web. However, not everything is sunshine and rainbows when dealing with proxies, and some can be harmful. And here's no exception.
Okay.
Good job, Master Wade.
I've only used it for cloaking, but I've used them.
I use it to be on Spark Notes.
I know exactly, because you need those. And they're and that's so deep web anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I need to be on Spark.
This
It's sparkling for
yeah.
What's that? Oh. I don't know.
I did the network stuff to get around stuff.
We don't have a filter down here.
You don't. There's no filter.
Yeah.
Especially no filter.
Hashtag. No filter.
Okay. You don't
have
to play it with the presenter.
How do you play with the presenter notes?
Oh, you gotta do it. You can't have your screens mirrored.
Yeah.
If they're mirrored, it won't.
So you go to your settings, you're under system preferences, yeah.
There's no Spark Notes out
I could probably make a lot.
filter. You need a filter.
And then you go to displays and arrangement, and you turn off mirroring, I think.
Or the cat.
I like the black and white filters.
Can you see it?
I don't have notes to see it on the slide, but I have notes to know. I'm in Tesla and self-driving cars, and that's a picture of the Tesla right there. It's a pretty nice looking car. Yeah. And here's a video of a guy test driving a Tesla.
Yeah, these are always just a little freaky.
I'm not touching it. No, the car's watching. It sees. Oh my gosh, the car knows exactly where the first light and red light. But that was interesting. It got a really bad taxi really well.
You can see the big map.
Which is incredible. And gosh, this is I'm not touching it at all, and it's driving. Oh, no, there it goes, and it stops. I mean, being here in a Tesla Model S P90T with ludicrous mode, which is incredibly fun, but the fact that it gets to do all of it itself, and you can see on here the vehicle in front of me that's following, and you can see where that is in its lane. And you can see all of the sensors going back and forth on the dashboard display here. Oh my gosh, it's changing lanes on its own. Oh my gosh, it's changing lanes on its own. That is wild. So I hit the brake there, but I didn't think I need to. I think that was me
When you touch the steering wheel,
getting
it stops.
nervous. And the car didn't have a problem. The car was like, just watch out, there's something in front. but it was slowing down.
Be very hard not to want to.
That's
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
I started freaking out.
Okay, and then the overview of my presentation, I'm just gonna like introduce the car and talk about like what it is and like some of the things that make it like self-driving. Driver error is the most common cause of traffic accidents. And by improving Tesla technology, the self-driving car could do the concentrating for us. So like cell phones and cars and like entertainment systems and more traffic would be like less of a hazard for driving. And we don't like necessarily have like fully autonomous cars yet, but I assume like with all the parts that I'll go over today, this could be very possible in the future to have like fully autonomous cars. So what is a self-driving car? It has an autopilot system, so it can drive itself from one point to another without assistance from the driver. How would the car detect the traffic lights? There's a sensor, and it's used to detect the intensity of the radiation, like a red color or yellow color will send a command to stop the vehicle, and like the green color would keep the vehicle going. I'm not really sure how it works like necessarily, but the sensor is called an actinometer. So technology that could make the system fully autonomous. Anti-lock brakes, which are like pretty standard. Electronic stability control, cruise control, which is standard. Lane departure warning system, which is in some cars. Self-parking and automated guidance vehicles. So anti-lock brakes are pretty standard. It offers improved vehicle control. It decreases stopping distances on dry and slippery surfaces for many drivers. And automatic braking, which is what you saw in the Tesla. It senses an imminent distance with another vehicle or a velocity-related danger. And you can see it in like quite a bit of cars that like it'll stop, like horses you see a car like stop with a danger and you're not really paying attention. It can detect radar, infrared, and like the GPS sensors in other cars to tell it to stop. And then there's electronic stability control. It's computerized technology that improves vehicle stability by detecting and minimizing skids. It helps to minimize the loss of control. It can automatically apply the brakes with it. And it compares the driver's intended direction to the vehicle's actual directions, just kind of like minimizes accidents. And cruise control is pretty standard, but there's also like automatic cruise control that'll like slow down like compared to the car in front of you, and it'll go faster when traffic allows. And you still set the speed that it needs to go. Lane departure warning system, which is in some cars, I think I've seen on commercials. It's a mechanism designed to warn the driver when the vehicle begins to move out of its lane. It's designed to minimize accidents by addressing the main causes of collisions, such as like driving error, distraction, and drowsiness of the driver in the car. And then there's self-parking cars, and it uses sensors all around the car to guide it into a parallel parking space. You still have to find the parking space. It's not like the car is going to find it for you. And you still need to position the car next to like a different car. Then there's an in-cabin navigation screen to tell the car where it should go. And the parking space needs to be like 6 feet bigger than the car just so that you can move around and park correctly. Backup cameras and parking sensors are in a lot of cars. There's a special type of video camera attached to the rear of the vehicle to aid it in backing up. And parking sensors are proximity detectors, which can alert the driver to like things that they might hit in the wrong run before they hit them. And then control of vehicle. As automotive technology grows, more and more functions of like the car will no longer be directly controlled by the driver. And I think that soon, like, computer technology will probably control all aspects of the vehicle. There are many advantages to it. It can manage traffic flow, you know, increasing like the roadway like capacity by reducing the distances between cars. You can avoid accidents, which would be like relieving vehicle occupants from driving, allowing them to concentrate on other tasks or and the current location of the vehicle can be determined by GPS, which I mean could be a disadvantage too if like somebody were to like try to see where you were and track you. And then disadvantages. In the vehicle, if the vehicle is using like internet from a hacker point of view, they could like somehow turn the car off while it's like driving. I don't know really how that works, but it's kind of scary. Or like change the route of the car system if it's fully autonomous and like the driver can't really change it. But like in case of like failure of a main sensor and backup sensors, the vehicle could, you know, create a chance of like an accident if the systems were to crash or something. The self-driving cars technology could improve vehicle stability and help minimize loss control. Driverless cars are designed to minimize accidents by addressing the main causes of collision, which is driving error, distraction, and drowsiness. And I have some charts from the survey I sent out. Most of you got this correct, but and 2 people said that they wouldn't get into a self-driving car, and 4 people said they would, which is kind of contradictory to this chart, which says the advantages just outweigh the disadvantages. It's 50-50.
Interesting. Okay. All right, anybody have questions? I've actually seen video where the self-driving car avoided a direct collision because of the technology involved. And the technology is already there in bits and pieces. If you've ever been in another car, you got a question?
Yeah.
Do you plan on owning any self-driving cars in the future?
If they're not like super expensive, probably.
Well, stop poking me.
All I did is my grandparents on their car has that lane detection thing when you're going over the lane. And I was driving it, and I was just driving on the road, and it kept beeping at me that I was changing lanes because the road was too skinny.
Was it a road with very little?
Yeah, it was just a county road with no side, no shoulder.
No shoulder.
Skinny. Kind of like Burma.
Yeah. I have the backup thing. I have backup.
It just beeps at you the whole time so that you're getting close to crossing lane.
Interesting. Okay, Sir Nick. Let's do this. And then we have the lovely Brandon. Let's hit the lovely Brandon.
Oh, yeah. So I did holograms. And everyone knows Star Wars. So that's Star Wars. So holograms are basically a 3D image. They once thought of like the future is gonna have holograms, and basically now they're already here. So we just have to make them affordable. The definition is a 3-dimensional image formed by the interference of light. And so here we have a car. So like this is gonna help us in the future because we can help mechanics can like see what they're working on without actually like going into it first. So like they can see, okay, this is how the car is built and everything. Where is everything at? We'll make it faster. Okay, and this is basically how it works. So you have your light source, and then a mirror, and what you want it to project. Like, so your light is here, and then it projects, and then this is like what you want it to show, like out in front, and it just that's basically it. And then have the video.
Alright, so if you do the right thing with a hologram, namely shine light on it and so forth, it'll reconstruct an image.
So you got the flashlight,
Yeah.
maybe this is obvious, but the flashlight going through the film, and somehow the information in the film recreates the 3D image of the clown smoking the cigar.
Right, but the interesting thing about it is that the clown is 3-dimensional. You can go behind it, you can see whether he has hair on the back of his head, You can go underneath and look at the chin underneath. In fact, if this hologram had been made not with ordinary light, but if it had been made by an NMR scan, you could have coded on that boundary, on that surface, you could have the interior, you could have all your guts and blood and everything else, bones, the entire full three-dimensional structure. You use the word map, and it's a good word. Map onto the boundary, onto the film. And the important thing is not that you shine light to reconstruct it, but that the information about the clown is equally well, and in fact, in some sense, better described, more accurately described, more precisely described by the little dots and dashes and structures entirely scrambled.
And then, so like, real world, everybody has a driver's license, and there's like a little hologram on your driver's license. When you tilt it to the light, you can see it. And then your credit card, your passport, and then there's my website.
You can actually build little mini ones, like little devices you can put on your phone. Need some CD cases.
Dog live.
All right.
Good thing I did.
I just looked at that answer sheet.
Not to be confused with last but not least, for sure.
Yep.
Okay, everybody, listen, please.
All right, so I did the future of artificial intelligence by me. And general info, what is artificial intelligence? It is the name of the academic field of study which studies how to create computers and computer software that are capable of intelligent behavior. And then there are lots of goals. There are many, many goals of artificial intelligence, but some include creating an artificial mind, discovering a formal model of thought, and building machines and or programs that can perform tasks that are difficult for humans. With it right now, we currently use artificial intelligence for many things, but some examples include pattern recognition, like optical, character, handwriting, speech. We call it art. It's not what we think of, artificial intelligence. And where it can take us in the future, it can take us many places, like I already said, but a lot of the bigger places that it could be taking us are in the military, in the medical field, and then cyborgs, which I'll get to later. In the military, there are actually more than 50 countries looking into battlefield robots, like the droids. And then some of the countries that are looking into this are Russia, China, the United Kingdom, and even the US of A. And then there are many concerns with the idea of artificial soldiers. And because of these, we probably won't have robots fighting in our military for a while, but it's pretty awesome. And then another concern is that someone could hack into the soldiers, or they could just break off of our command, become Ultron, and the world.
Ultron, iRobot, Chappie, you know, there's a lot of those.
And we don't have Avengers around, so we'd be screwed. And then good justice, but anyways, this guy doesn't have any arms, and he's got a little vest deal with robotic arms on it. So anyways, human implants and prosthetics. Human implants would make us stronger and overall better at everything, because they make us smarter and stronger, like I said. And prosthetics that are partially controlled by artificial intelligence could basically restore the limb that was lost, actually make it do more than it ever could before. We would still have control of the limb, but I mean, like the artificial intelligence, like if our body would say, you know, move your arm up, it would, you know, direct it how to move, you know. And
what happens if the Soviet Union hacks your arm?
Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier.
That's what happens.
Okay,
Autopack you.
And then caring for the elderly or disabled, robots controlled by artificial intelligence would be able to care for and know the needs of the elderly and disabled far better than the average person would. So they would probably be overall better caregivers and improved personalized medical care. Currently, medicine is very statistical and treatments are made for large populations and not necessarily for the individual. But with artificial intelligence, it is possible, thanks to machine learning, to match up individual problems with very specialized treatments that are made for exactly that person, which would be helpful. And cyborgs, yes, there's this one dude, he's freaky, he's scary. But anyways, that is looking into making us cyborgs. You have no idea how hard it is to find a realistic cyborg image. That's the closest I can find. I think it's from Terminator, I don't know. Some people predict humans and robots will merge, becoming a cyborg. These cyborgs would be basically better than humans in every way, because they'd be smarter, faster, and stronger. We would be able to be way more productive, as we could augment our brains with infallible memories and calculators. And the technology required for this is not here yet. It'll be a long time before it is. And many people are very concerned with this idea.
Fine.
But yeah, one of the biggest concerns is that the internet would be in your head, so that the government could see what you were thinking, and people could hack into your thoughts. So basically, going into your brain and see what's going on there. That's weird. That's what's one of the concerns. But then another is that you could download skills if you were a cyborg. I mean, like, if you wanted to be good at football, you could just download that skill and you paint me with that.
Yeah, go to the App Store.
Go to the App Store.
Yeah, go to the App Store.
NFL.
Yeah. And then because of all these concerns, this probably won't happen for a very long time, if ever. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's